exploration of the history of Watts, we have two of her sons here that are going to talk about the community as they remember it. Not only do they have vivid memories of the past, but they've come back to the community to work in the community and serve in important roles. I'm speaking specifically of Mr. Frank Sotelo, who, in addition to his professional duties, is the chairman of the board of the Watts Health Foundation. And also Mr. Vincente Bonilla, who is a member of the board of directors of the Watts Health Foundation. Today we're going to explore memories of the Watts community as it once was.
Considered him nothing but a
Bandito.
My grandmother, they had to leave because they were very well, had a lot of money, had an hacienda, and they had to come. And her parents over to El Paso, Texas, because of that. So, in their memories, he was nothing but a crook. He wasn't the Robin Hood that he stole from the rich and gave to the poor. He stole from the rich and gave to himself. But then because if you really look at the history of the revolution, Emiliano Zapata was really considered a hero of the people. He was a peasant. He was not like Pancho Villa had been a robber and a murderer before he got the folk heroes involved in the folk hero thing. When he took over the government, he printed money with his own picture on it. And one of these, I have a book on the history of the revolution from
for another plug.
Right there on the wall.
Yeah, but we were thinking that it should be closer to where they are. It'll pick it up, okay?
There was a white journalist that traveled a lot with Pancho Villa that wrote a lot of the stories on how, they said like a sailor has a girl in every port, he had a wife in every city he came and plundered. So that's, like I say, depends from what standpoint you look, he was a hero or not. Because Zapata was for a great agrarian reform. Pancho Villa was.
Now, the song La Cucaracha was one of their party songs, wasn't
one of those, they're all drinking songs, really.
Yeah.
They're corridos. They call in Spanish, they're called corridos. They're just like folk songs here in the United States. Jimmy Crack Corn and I Don't Care, My Master's Going Away, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. You ready?
I was getting that in.
All right. Okay. We'll first start with you, Mr. Sotelo. Tell us about your earliest recollections of Watts.
My earliest recollections of Watts, I think, go back when I was about 3 or 4 years old. Every Saturday morning, my grandma would get me ready, go to 118th Street in Wilmington, board the Atkinson Transportation bus to come to Watts, where she would do her weekly shopping, grocery shopping, buying clothes. At that time, Watts was the community where everybody in the Watts area and the surrounding community shopped. It was an ongoing city, numerous shops, specialty stores, everything you needed in a town of its size. I can remember attending movies at the local theaters. They had certain days where they'd show movies in Spanish, others they'd show in English. I had the benefit of both because I would attend the movie in Spanish with my grandmother and on my own, and my parents attend the ones in English. The Linda and the Largo still stay in my mind. Later they became run down, but at one time there were theaters that everybody would attend. I still remember many of the stores that were in existence. Major shopping centers that we call now maybe wouldn't compare, but they were the start of what we call the supermarket. You had a Smith Market just east of Long Beach Avenue on 103rd. You had smaller shops owned by the Gomez family that catered for specialty cuts of meats. You had a photography studio where for a long time that photographer had done all the picture taking for all the local schools that were in the area at that that time.
Do you remember his name?
He was a native of the Philippines, and I can't recall his name now, but he was the prominent photographer in this area. There was one of the store that the people shopped that was more expensive than others was Sawaya's department store, which is located almost where the Watts Health Center is located now. I think that was the first place I seen where they had credit accounts, because I would see both my grandparents and my aunts would come in to buy clothes, and they would pay on account. Another thing that I can remember is that my first savings account was at Farmers and Merchants Bank, which was on 103rd adjacent to the Pacific Electric tracks. My mother used to put in 10 cents a week into an account there. And it doesn't sound like much now, but 10 cents a week, at that time, I was also insured by American National by my mother, and the premium was 5 cents a week for a $500 policy, term life, 20 years. Nowadays, 5 or 10 cents wouldn't buy a stick of gum almost. But at that time, it was, you might say it was expensive to purchase that type of insurance. There was so many specialty shops that I made it a point, because I was always very energetic, of walking into all the stores. Some they allowed me to stay in because my parents were buying. Some they wouldn't allow me in. One of the stores that my parents shopped for groceries was called El Mirador Market on Santa Ana and Wilmington. And when I walked in there with my mother and father, the first thing they did was put me on top of a sack of flour so I couldn't disrupt the customers or knock down cans off the shelf. At that time, there was several barber shops in the area, and for those people that probably remember down south, most of the barber shops had what they called bathhouses. A lot of the early houses did not have inside plumbing here in the community. So many, especially the men, would go on 2 or 3 times a week to the barber shop, not necessarily to get a haircut, but to use the bathhouses. One of the ones that I can still remember was Romero's barber shop that was on the corner of Santa Ana and Wilmington. He had one of the largest bathhouses, combination bathhouses and barber shops here in the community. The other things that I can remember was that at an early age, my mother and father always took me everywhere, so they used to have dances here at some of the halls. There was one hall above the beach store on 103rd, and I think it was KP Hall, where they would come on a Friday or Saturday, and they put me on a bench because they didn't have chairs, and I'd sit there and watch everybody dance. I never did learn how to dance, but I watched a lot of dancing. I also remember as I began school, and I attended St. Leo's parochial school.
That was on Imperial, wasn't it?
Originally, it was on 118th Place and Compton Avenue. When they built the junior high, they built it on Imperial in Alabama Street. But I started when the church itself was on 113th, just east of Compton Avenue. And we were there when they first opened Will Rogers Park. In fact, nowadays kids have outings where they go to Disneyland, Marineland. Our big deal was at the end of the school year, we would have a picnic at Will Rogers Park. We would walk from 118th Place and Compton Avenue to Will Rogers Park on 103rd. At that time, it didn't seem nothing to walk that distance. But that was our big deal every year prior to the school letting out. As I continued to grow, I left St. Leo's High School and went to St. Anthony High School, where I graduated.
In Long Beach?
In Long Beach. At that time, that was the only school that would allow people of color. And at that time, you also had a recommendation from the principal to verify that you're an honest and upstanding student, both mentally and scholastically. You could be an A student, but if they figured you were rebellious, they didn't want you. The first year I almost got expelled because I tried to tell the teacher what to do. On an algebra problem, and I was right and she was wrong, but she was the teacher. So I was wrong. Going back during my high school days, I can remember still catching the Watts Local. We would walk from where I lived on 118th and Wilmington to catch the Watts Local, which at that time I think was 7 cents to go downtown to the movies. If you had 50 cents to spend, you could see the movie, buy popcorn, and ride the Watts Local. If you had more money than that, you can get the regular card, but that was like 12 cents. So the nickel for popcorn would be lost if you took the fast card. The reason the Watts Local was called that is because it stopped at every corner. A trip to Los Angeles would take 45 minutes to an hour. But you enjoy meeting a lot of people. Usually we'd get together with a bunch of kids, all ride the streetcar together. As more people started moving into the community, people started shopping at other cities like Huntington Park. Huntington Park was one of the few cities where you could shop during the daytime, but you couldn't be caught at night.
Well, why was that?
They still felt there was a lot of people don't realize there was a lot of segregation here in Los Angeles and California. A lot of people just think that it's back down south, but it was here also. In fact, there was laws written in every deed owner that they could not, in the cities of Linwood, Southgate, and Huntington Park, that they could not sell their property to anybody but a white citizen. And that law was not repealed until the 1962. It was state law. But people would use the advantage of going there during the day to do shopping, to find things that you couldn't find in Watts. But 90% of the things you need, you could find here in Watts. But it gave people an opportunity to see how other cities were, how they operated. I can remember seeing people lined up on the corner of, they used to call the streetcar station Avila, which was named after the Spanish land grant that was given to the Avila family. Avila was then located just north of Imperial on Wilmington. That was the regular Pacific Electric streetcar stop. And one day I happened to ask my father, I said, "Why are all these people out here at 7 o'clock in the morning?" He said, "Well, you know, they have to go to the doctor." And you'd see anywhere from 10 to 25, 30 people, all carrying lunch bags. They would have to take the streetcar to the streetcar depot on 6th and Main, and from there be transferred to go to Big General. There were very few doctors in the community, and those doctors required a fee. So if you didn't have any money, you had to go to the Big General, which was like an all-day trip. And hopefully you wouldn't get an appointment for the next day, because you'd be out there all day the next day. And that continued until the rebellion in '65, and based on the Macomb Commission, the needs that were left unmet, met because of the lack of physicians. And I think that's one of the reasons why the South Central Multipurpose Health Services organization was originally funded under a demonstration project because of the need for health services. The needs are still not being completely met. If it wasn't for the Watts Health Foundation and the Watts Health Center, I think that some of those problems still continue. Although we have Martin Luther King Jr. General Hospital located on 128th and Wilmington, I still think that we need to continue the expansion of medical services, especially by the Watts Health Foundation.
Thank you. Thank you. Of Watts.
The thing that I would appreciate, if I would be permitted to read what I have written down, because my mind is like a computer. I'm not very bright. So I would like to read what I have so that you'll get a picture of everything. It's a recollection of Watts for Project 20, years 1920 to 1986. It's going to take a little time, but will you give me permission? Okay. Watts has always been my life, inspiration, and my favorite neighborhood. I was raised in Watts, attended Grape Street School, and graduated from Jordan High School in winter of 1938. If we had a cemetery in Watts, I would like to be buried there. I love Watts. The Southern Pacific electric streetcar was one of the greatest things we had during those years. Perfect means of transportation, traveling from Watts to downtown Los Angeles, Long Beach, and also Santa Ana. We had the local and limited service. The local car made several stops before arriving to its destination to pick up and drop off passengers. The limited went straight on through to its destination. The Farmers and Merchants Bank, the first bank established in Watts, gave outstanding and efficient services to thousands of farmers and merchants of Watts and of the surrounding population. The bank was located at 103rd, adjacent to the Southern California Railroad tracks. I believe with all my heart that the Japanese farmers for Watts and the surrounding farming fields made it possible for the existence of the Farmers and Merchants Bank to remain open and continue in a very progressive march. Thus, enrichment came to all businessmen and professional people. Some of the first schools that opened were Jordan High School, Grave, 111th Street, Ritter, 102nd Street, etc. We also had two parochial schools, San Miguel and St. Lawrence, still open. Years after Markham Junior High opened, there was also an independent Mexican school inaugurated in 1926. One of the founders was Jose Bonilla, and the first teacher was Amparo Merino. Jose was a United Health Plan Golden Age member. Amparo Merino is a United Health Plan member, patient at the Watts Health Center. The school only taught the Spanish language and was open to the public, no exceptions. Students' ages ranged from 5 to 16 years of age. In Watts, in approximately the year 1929, the first celebration of the Mexican Independence Day took place in Watts. The recognized day is September 16th of every year. One of the founders again was Jose S. Bonilla. All nationalities came to these well-organized festivals, which were open to the public, as well as to the public. For both social and political affairs, we citizens living in Watts had, in the early days, the social halls as follows: Windbigglers, KP Hall, Odd Fellows, Dixie, Celebrity, Patriotic and Plantation Hall, and Club. In all of these places, we saw good times and also bad times. Nevertheless, we had something to do. The oldest and first silent moving picture theater was the popular Palace Theater. They showed movies of Tom Hanks, Charlie Chaplin, etc. This happened in the early part of 1920. A few years after that, the Diego, Largo, and Linda theaters were opened, and no more silent moving pictures existed. Modern days and times came to Watts. For recreational and educational services were a public library and a playground, which were established in the early part of 1930. The playground had everything we needed, and our library had a good variety of books, which helped us very much in building up our education. During those years, we didn't have a public park, but a few years went by, and all of a sudden, something great happened. Will Rogers Park had its grand opening. Talking about churches, liquor stores, and taverns, I believe that this is nothing new. These three have always been in competition, one with the other. There were many grocery stores throughout our neighborhood, but there were only two wholesale and retail business places to serve all the merchants of Watts. Hoagland's Wholesaler, one of the first ones, and then came Smart and Final. We had approximately a total of 10 drugstores, but the oldest two were Owl Drugs and Rexall's. Kilo's Tailor Shop was the only shop within and near the entire and main shopping area. Two of the shoe repair shops that opened their doors in the year of approximately 1928 was a Russian gentleman, and the other one's shop named Greco Shoe Repairing. This Italian shoe repairman became very prosperous and rich. I worked for him part-time while attending Jordan High School, 1933 to March 1941, because I was inducted in the military service April 7th of 1941. There were also three other shoe repair shops in Watts.
Cut. 2, 3, go.
This picture was taken in Jordan High School in winter of 1938. My sister is to the left of me, and I'm on the right. At the age of, my sister was at the age of 16 years of age, and I was 18.
Was that a school?
This is before graduation eve when this picture was taken.
Was that a school sweater, or were you just dapper dressed at that time?
This sweater?
Yes.
This sweater was the graduation sweater that we used. It was called, we were called the Shipmates Forever. Shipmates.
Uh-huh.
Was red and was a beautiful sweater.
Yes.
The most popular two were Irving's Dress Shop and Martin's Exclusive Dress Apparel. During 1928, Sawaya's Credit Department Store opened his business. Sawaya, the sole owner of a huge department store. This store was located where Lloyd's Bank was before the Watts Health Foundation opened the Watts Health Center on 103rd and Compton Avenue. Many years ago, approximately the year of 1923, I needed surgery, and the nearest hospital where my parents could take me was the General Hospital in Los Angeles. I was 5 years old then. 1932, I was rushed to the General Hospital by ambulance with a broken leg. It was very tough for our parents to be able to get enough money for transportation, medication, and also for food, because going to a hospital at that time took all day and sometimes part of the night to get service. We are able to say right now, without a doubt in our minds, that God used Mrs. Burdell Chumore as the founder of the Watts Health Foundation with the encouragement of Dr. Elsie Georgie, and also with a great sacrifice of her followers. This effort was not in vain. First of all, the South Central Multipurpose Health Center was opened in 1967. This was a big improvement and a great help to all the residents in Watts and for the assistance of their health needs as well as for their families and friends. This brought joy and peace to our minds. As we got stronger and were able to get more funding, we opened up more our new Watts Health Center, located at 10300 Compton Avenue in 1979. And since that year, we have accomplished to become federally qualified HMO. And not only that, but we are the best. We have extended our United Health Plan services as far as San Fernando Valley and San Gabriel, and to Orange County, and as far as San Diego County. We are still not satisfied with all of this, we are still we are still not satisfied with all of this that we have achieved. We are going to grow like giants in order to be able to help the most critical places that are in desperation of medical care and assistance. We thank God for our President and Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Clyde W. Oden, and also his administration. But not only them, but for the strong and hard-working officers and members of the Board of Directors. Before I close with my report, Martin Luther King General Hospital was also a big blessing from God to all of us who need of their services. We are privileged people. Submitted by yours truly, Vincente Bonilla, board member.
Thank you, Mr. Bonilla. Now, I'm going to take you down memory lane a little. You can put your paper down now. I want to talk about when you were a little kid in Watts. What do you remember as you and your sisters used to walk up and down the streets? Where did you live?
I'm going to tell you, I was approximately 5 months old when my father brought us. I was born by the Olvera on Aliso Street. He brought us to the Watts area in 1919, somewhere along the month of March. That would make me about 5 months old. We lived on Palomar and 115th Street. I went to Grape Street School when I was 5 years of age, and when I left from Grape Street School, I went to Jordan High School, which I graduated in winter of 1938. During those years, we had not very much to do, but when they opened up the playground and the library, we had a lot to do because we had places to go to study and to play. There was a business place that was a Greco shoe repairing where while I was going to school, which was on my written report, I worked there, earned a little bit of money, and that helped out my father's finance with a money situation that was tough. And I really enjoyed working in that shoe repair shop. We moved to 3 different places, from the railroad tracks across from the depot, and then we moved to 103rd on the south side of the street and close to the railroad tracks. And then we moved across the street from there to a different location when a Safeway supermarket bought that place. We moved across the street again. So we were in 3 different locations. I want to mention that there was shoe repairing. There was another fellow by the name of I can't remember.
Was that
now.
the Russian gentleman? Was that the Russian you were talking about? The other shoe repairman?
The shoe repair shop is what I'm talking about. I can't place his name right now. I had him in my mind. Cordero was one of the shoe repairmen. The other shoe repairman. And there were about 2 others that I don't recall their names because it's been such a long time.
Okay. Mr. Sotelo, why don't you join us back now? We're going to
one thing we want for him to talk about the other pictures.
Yes.
Just explain what they are.
Okay. Before we go, yes, we'll want you to hold up the picture and just talk about it. No, stay. Yes.
This picture was taken in 19...
Hold on, Mr. Bonilla. When I say action, then you start. Then what we can do is we can cut the stills later.
Right.
Just you can just do the dialogue.
Okay.
When I say action, when Dr. Oden put his hand down, you can start.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Go.
This picture was taken in 1928, May 5th Festival, Cinco de Mayo, at Grape Street School. In photo appears Vincente Bonilla at the age of 10.
That's a very large sombrero there. Is that one of your
That's not
favorite?
as large as they make them now, but it's a large sombrero.
That was one of your favorite ones?
Not exactly. I wanted something better, but we couldn't afford it.
Okay. Now show us the other one, the other picture.
This picture is Mr. Bonilla again. This photo was taken in Jordan High School in Watts, because there was a school in Long Beach also by the name of Jordan. September 16th of 1932. I was 14 years of age during the anniversary of the Mexican Independence Day, the 16th of September.
Now
You can see me there with a sarape.
Yes.
Sarape, and there's a lot of students that used to like me a lot and that were in the background also.
Now I also noticed you have a nice mustache there at 14.
Well, it wasn't as nice as I wanted. I wanted one like Pancho Villa or these other rebels,
did
know?
you paint that on there, or was that yours at age 14?
This was kind of real thin, and I didn't quite like it. It was not too natural either. I used to take and tint it a little bit. I used to cheat.
Okay. Okay, fine. Go ahead. Show
This other picture was taken in Jordan High School in winter of 1938. Don't recall exactly the date, but that was before my graduation at Jordan High School.
Very good.
By the way, I want to mention something. This was the shipmates forever.
Uh-huh.
And the sweater was kind of a red, a beautiful red. I like that color.
Yes.
I had my graduation pin there, and I had a scholarship pin, believe it or not.
Of course we believe it.
Thank you very
Thank you.
kindly.
Okay.
And it's the Bonilla family, where my
Uh-huh.
father had this home built in 1926. This home that appears in the picture was built brand new. And we moved into it in 1923. This home is still there. The address is 1810 East 109th Street in Watts. In the photograph, left to right, is yours truly, Watts Health Foundation member, Gaspar, my brother, Isabel, my sister, oldest sister, Marciana, my mother, and my father is next to her, and then Julio and Margarita to the far right. As you can see, that was our favorite home.
Yes. You moved into that one new.
Yes.
Were the other houses on the street new at that time?
The other houses were, this one was built somewhere along that time. There was vacant lots to the right side of where my father lived.
One of the old nicknames that Watts used to have was Mudville. What was it like when it rained around your house during the winter time?
Oh, terrible. It was terrible, but we used to have fun. When it rained, we used to get barefooted, even if we knew that we were going to get our feet cut, but we'd go out and raise all kinds of cane in the mud and the water, down Wilmington Avenue and along all of those streets.
There was just plenty of
We
water.
had fun.
Uh-huh.
A lot of mud.
A lot of mud.
water.
Cars would get stuck there? Would the cars get stuck?
Well, at times there would be cars stuck there, yes.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right, show us some more of your pictures.
This is a picture, Escuela Mexicana Manuel Doblado, Mexican School, Manuel Doblado, 10822 Juniper Street in Watts. Founded in July 18th of 1926. Gaspar Bonilla, at the age of 13 and a half, was being instructed by the teacher as to the posture he must execute while writing a lesson on the blackboard. Mrs. Amparo Merino, teacher, is still teaching Spanish in her home in the Watts area. She loves children, and her dedication has been teaching since the year 1926. Jose S. Bonilla and Mrs. Merino are intimate friends, my father and her, which are, they came here, and she still comes to the United Health Plant, or the Watts Health Center for medical care.
Oh, we need to talk with her sometime.
Yes, her last name now is Rivas.
Rivas.
Amparo Rivas.
Okay.
Rivas.
Thank you.
Okay, here's another picture. This picture right here to the left, you see a
Yes.
bow tie and a beautiful silk shirt. That was silk shirt, striped, and fancy black jacket, white trousers, shiny shoes, the best. And this photo appears from left to right, my brother Gaspar Bonilla. And this picture was taken in approximately 1930. Photo was taken at 1810 East 109th Street. Gaspar was 14 years of age and I was 12. This other picture to the right, this photo was taken in January of 1946 at the Mexico City Cathedral, a few minutes before coming back to our favorite town of Watts after 2 months vacation in Mexico. From left to right, Julio Bonilla, Virginia, his wife, and I next to him, and then Sylvia, the youngest daughter, Julia's daughter, my brother's daughter.
Okay.
This picture. Now we have another picture right here. This picture right here to the left
Yes.
is a photo was taken in 1929 and 1810 East 109th Street, Los Angeles. And this photo appears left to right. Yours truly, Gaspar Bonilla, my brother, Julio, Margarita, front row from left to right, Jose Bonilla, my father, Raquel Lara, my niece, and Marciana R. Bonilla, my mother, all Watts residents since 1919. Oh, right here to the right is another picture. I'm with a bow tie, but I don't know whether I'm looking to the sky or what, but I'm looking up. This picture was taken also in 1929 at the age of 11. It was taken at 1810 East 109th Street, where I lived at that time. This, last but not least, we have another picture right here. Escuela Mexicana, Manuel Doblado, Mexican school, Manuel Doblado. On July 18, 1926, the first and last Mexican school named Manuel Doblado was inaugurated in the Watts community through the great efforts of approximately 10 persons, one of the persons being Mr. Jose Bonilla. The teacher's name was Amparo Merino, at present United Health Plant patient, Watts Health Center. This photo was taken in the year of 1928. Location of the school, 10822 Juniper Street, Watts. In 1928, we had approximately 37 students. In photo appear Julio, Gaspar, Vincente, Margarita Bonilla, and other students. That's the last picture that I have, and I also have a Joe High that perhaps at some other occasion we can present some of the pictures, and we can talk about what happened during that time.
Okay, now, for both of you, what was it like in terms of the Latino community in Watts, as well as the black community, the Japanese, and the whites? What was the mixture of the community?
Oh, yes. You want me to speak?
Both
All
of
right. I want to tell you that I'm glad that you mentioned this, because I didn't have room enough to, in all the writing that I did, I left out a lot of good things because there was not enough space and enough time.
Yes.
During the time that I was going to high school, there were 12 nationalities going to Jordan High School. 12 nationalities. We used to battle out at the beginning, fight, but then we got to be intimate friends. All of us were like one another.
Yes.
There was no discrimination whatsoever.
Okay.
The ones that had discrimination stayed away from Jordan High School, so we made it our school, our favorite school.
Yes.
See? So it was good.
It was good. Okay. Frank, what do you remember?
Well, I remember Watts, as like Mr. Bonilla says, I don't remember 12 nationalities, but I do know that what I can recollect that there was a large number of white people living in the community. In fact, they owned the better properties in the community. A lot of them were from German descent. My own uncle's parents lived here on Lou Dillon in 106. And I can remember that my uncle's mother lived there until about 1945, 46. She owned her own house. They were all over. The Hispanic population was confined to the area of what they still call La Colonia, which is traditionally built, communities are built around the church. And that area was in the area of San Miguel Catholic Church. A lot of people left right after the war because of economic conditions that had changed. But a lot of people now, if you go back, you'll see a lot more people, Hispanic people, moving back into the community. The black families that moved in moved more towards Compton Avenue. Some of the first black churches that were built are on Compton Avenue. One was on, I think it's 108th or 109th in Compton Avenue. One of the large churches is still there. But if you go back and start going through the streets again now of Watts, some of the areas, and by the way, I happened to live in Jordan Downs when I came out of the service, and there was quite a few white folks living in Jordan Downs based on economic conditions. I lived there until they found out that I was working and I was no longer in the service, and they asked me to leave. But, because you had subsidized rent if you were in the service. But what you've seen is really the community being very strong at that time. Like Mr. Bonilla said, there was no such thing as segregation in this community. Everybody basically was poor or trying to make out a living. Everybody was concerned about their families.
What about the Japanese community? I understand that Tokyo Rose came from Watts.
Well, there was quite a few farmers that used to farm, especially around 103rd and Central. At one time, some of the best asparagus and strawberries grown in this area were raised there. The Chicago Trading Company was the name of the store that was owned by relatives of Tokyo Rose. And they were located just south of Imperial Highway on Wilmington Avenue. And like I said, it was called the Chicago Trading Company. Tokyo Rose attended the local schools. In fact, she went to Compton College, Compton Community College. They, until they were put in relocation camps, had a thriving business. Right after relocation time, though, that business was taken over by one of the old black pioneers from the Willowbrook area, Mr. Young. He took the business over, and I think he paid $1,500 for all the business. That's how much he could come up with cash, because the Japanese didn't want checks. They wanted cash because they didn't have time to cash checks where they were going. And after that, he developed an empire through the business that initially started by the relatives of Tokyo Rose. Part of the family was called Fukumoto. In fact, I went to school with one of her cousins, and his name was Ishi Fukumoto. He grew up in the relocation camps, came back, and I think for a while set gymnastic records at Compton College. After they came back, they took over the store for a while. They bought it back from Mr. Young, but slowly the family dissolved and moved to other areas, and I've lost. I really don't know where they've gone to. I do know that after that, a few of the blacks that were in the area where I was born and raised had the opportunity to really become very good businessmen because of the conditions that were left to them by the relocation of the Japanese Americans. I think they left their mark in the community, though, because you still have truck farming. You have truck farming now on the Southern Pacific or Southern California Electric right-of-way. One of the recollections I can remember that you would see farmers of other nationalities and their rows of plants would be, you look like curves on highways. And the Japanese, it's almost like if they use an engineer to map out the course of the gardens. One of the things that also came out, and I can remember that, was another cause for the government to relocate the Japanese Americans. Somebody came up with the crazy idea that they were using the flower gardens in Dominguez Hills to signal different secret codes to flying Japanese aircraft. They didn't have any aircraft that could fly from Japan here, but that's another reason that they used to relocate them.
I see. Okay. Tell me more about the theaters, the movie theaters that you used to go to. The Lido.
Linda.
Linda.
Yeah, the Linda is located approximately about 4 doors from 103rd and Compton Avenue, facing south on the north side of the street. The Linda was not as large as the Largo, but it offered English and speaking movies 7 days a week. It had a full fountain where you get refreshments before and after intermission. Intermission, at that time, people used to whistle. They didn't holler and scream, but they'd whistle because the intermission was so long, because the vendors were making their money off the popcorn and the sodas during intermission. The Largo was located closer to Wilmington Avenue, on the same side of the street, facing south on the north side. That lasted, I think, longer than Linda. Linda was shut down earlier, and that was because of some beginning redevelopment at that time. The Largo lasted longer and finally closed because people in this community were given the opportunity, and I say opportunity because we were allowed to get into other theaters, so it was not as popular. You had the theater on Manchester, which was a Fox Manchester. No, that was the one on Firestone and Compton Avenue. That was a Kinema. I'm talking about the large Fox on Manchester. Right? You had the Thrifty Drugstore. You had the. It was made Egyptian style. You walked in and had a beautiful patio, and it was designed with different monoliths all around it. Then you walked into the theater. Then there was another one on Manchester and Broadway. So as people got the opportunity and methods of transportation, the participation at the Largo Theater, and also was being run down. I think a lot of us know about absentee landlords that they would make their money, would not spend any money on rehabbing the theater, so it finally closed down because of complaints and lack of attendance.
Okay, now we're going to bring forward to today. Both of you are very active in the community. Tell us about your involvement. Start with you, Frank, in terms of what it is you're doing and why are you doing it?
I've always felt that I needed to use whatever talent I had to help my fellow man. When there was a need for something, I either got involved in forming an organization, to found an organization, or offered to serve on the board and assist in developing various programs. I've done that in numerous agencies, nonprofit organizations in the city of Compton, in the Willowbrook community, and also since 1973 in the Watts community with the Watts Health Center, and now the Watts Health Foundation. I was originally asked to serve on the board by a past member, Sotelo, back in 1972. At that time I was involved in 3 different organizations, and I had to thank Mr. Roque for asking me, but I felt that unless I could give 100% of my time to an organization, I didn't want to get involved. Because of my beginning knowledge of the organization, and I began to talk to other people that had been involved with the organization, I dropped membership or participation in 2 organizations, which was the Compton Action Center for Youth Development and the Compton Center for Positive Change, which I was a founding member of both, to finally agree with Mr. Roque to become a member of this organization. I seen the need. I can remember those vivid past where I seen people having to go to the big general for medical services. So I felt that maybe I could be part of an organization. And even at that time, I seen in the future. A lot of times people say that we have dreams. I had made several statements that have come true about the growth of this organization. But then I seen it as, if I could offer whatever I knew to the organization, I'd be more than happy to. And I've been involved with the Watts Health Foundation since then, and will continue to be.
And Church, tell us about the things that you now do.
The involvement in the Watts community.
Yes, and the foundation.
When I was still going to high school, we had a building that was a church, and we divided it into, on 109th Street and Wilmington Avenue, 109th Street and Wilmington Avenue, where we divided it into 2 sections. One was a church, and the other one was a clubhouse and recreation hall, where approximately in 1936 or 35, I was named the president of that certain club. And the reason why I accepted that was for the simple reason that I like to keep children out of trouble. During that time, that was my main purpose and involvement. Even if I used to drink liquor, I used to try to control my mind, my fist, in order not to get into fights, but try to break a fight if possible. And that's what I wanted for the ones that were my followers. And this club was a very nice club. We had directors that were Bartolome Alorda and Esteban Clavera, which were actually professors from Spain that taught us the Spanish language also. That was after Merino had taught us the basic part. Then they taught us grammar there in that certain school, and we formed a club and also a church. Their purpose for forming a church was, for forming a school, and this was to make propaganda to form a church. So the school was really the first one, and then the club, and then the church. So we had a combination of 3 there, and I enjoyed it very much during those years. We also used to go to this place, this church. I think it was, what was it, that church, Quintanillas.
On Santa Ana Avenue.
Santa Ana and between Wilmington Avenue and closer to Graham Avenue. We used to go there with a club, and they had a club formed already at that time, and we got together with them. We also used to go to the community house on 108th, 107th, and Juniper. That was a cute community house that had recreation facilities, and it also was a place for social affairs, for birthdays and for dancing and ever so many things. And they had educational projects also. They had a nice baseball team, basketball. They had also some good musicians. They were named the Cardinals, if you recall that, the Cardinals. And so we had a great time during those years.
What about now? Well, what are the things that you're doing now, today?
Today, during approximately 5 years ago, I was involved a lot in church boards, the local church, the sector, and the federation, the district of Los Angeles of the Apostolic Faith. During that time, they were talking to me in order to join or be part of a member of the board of directors. And I was committed to my church and to the work that I was doing, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I didn't want to do it for that reason. Finally, in my last year, I believe that I was serving the Federation, I decided to accept the invitation of the Board of Directors, which I'm serving at the present time. I enjoy it very much.
Were you president of some organizations, Hidalgo?
In the church?
Or just in the community?
In the community too. I was a president of the Club Juventud Hidalgo was the name of that certain club that I was talking about. I forgot to mention the name. Club Juventud Hidalgo.
Okay.
And then I was the president, vice president, treasurer in the local church of the board. I was secretary, vice president, and treasurer of Sector 2, and I was a treasurer at the end, the last 2 years before I came to the board of directors just in the past 4 years, and I quit.
Okay.
Because I wanted to fulfill my commitment here at the Watzel Foundation with the board of directors.
The Horowitz brothers.
Horowitz.
What do you remember of
Horowitz was that's been years ago, but I remember it was a father, the Horowitz, Dr. Horowitz was the father of these other two doctors that were in the Broadway Hospital before it closed.
Yes.
But I don't recall their name too well, the sons. But he had his doctor's office, Horowitz, years ago. I believe it could have been in the 30s. On somewhere along Century, I think it was. And between Wilmington Avenue and Graham Avenue.
97th.
97th? 97th, he says. So he's perhaps correct on that. Now there was another doctor also, very popular doctor, although I never went to see him, but I used to like him, and his sons went to school with me, Ralph Bledsoe and Raleigh Bledsoe. And he had his office on 104th Street and Wilmington Avenue. One of his secretaries that was working for him has a daughter working here in the pharmacy right now at the present time.
Is that right?
She was born, she was raised in the Watts area and married Peter Jackson during his professional time of boxing. Very good professional fighter. Then he divorced him and she married a wealthy person that owned a drugstore. I think it was a Rexall drugstore that I mentioned in my report. And since then, I guess she was prosperous, although the age is creeping up on her. So yeah, I guess it's getting the best of her now. But I think she's enjoyed her stay here and or living here in the Watts area also.
Yes. Well, Frank, for as long as you've been on the board, you have some distinctions about service?
Well, I think that I've been serving as chairman the longest of any person. I'll have 10 years in October as chairman of the board of directors. With the exception of being out of town on board business, I've only missed one board meeting. That's in a few years, so if you want to say that's distinction, I guess I'll admit to that.
Well, I think the other distinction that we have to make is that if we look at the growth of the foundation and the fact that we have both a national and international reputation, that's all come under your tenure as the leader of the board. And our board has set an example for community organizations all across the country. And that would not have happened without the leadership that you've given to the board.
Well, I've had a lot of help from very good board members, especially the first and second vices that I've had for a long period of time. I've also, I think, the Wassell Foundation has given me the opportunity to grow because I've had the opportunity to represent the organization with the National Association of Community Health Centers, Group Health Association of America, and being president of the Western Association of Community Health Centers. So I think that has helped me personally. And also because of my family that support me very strongly, and my 5 bosses that sit on the council of the city of Compton that allow me to take time to participate in all these activities.
Okay, well, we're coming to a wrap at this point. Last words from either of you about your remembrances of Watts. Anything?
There is, I would like to say this before I say some of the last remembrances that I could not jot in my report. I have, one day I was looking at the attendance sheet of the roster for the board meetings, and I saw my name that said in the absent list, and I said, they made a mistake. And then I was starting to think and think and think. I says, how could I miss one meeting when I never do? And it was that I was in Washington during that time. So I'm glad that my attendance is perfect.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And I'm very happy that I feel that way about it. I want to tell you some recollections also. The corner, you know, where the towers are.
Yes.
Somewhere along there, on the north side of the street, west side of the street, on the north side of the railroad tracks, was Pacheco's Corner. It was something like a little shopping center, if you recall. There used to be a gasoline station. There used to be a cleaners. It used to be rounded like that in little stores like that. A cleaners, a liquor store, a beer garden, and I don't recall what else there was.
Later
there.
It became called George's Corner, which was across the street from the Bucket of Blood. You remember that?
Yes, the Barrel House?
Barrel House,
The
yes.
Barrel House. Yeah, I recall that because we used to get a lot of liquor from those barrels at that time.
Let me ask you a question about the Watts Towers. Do you remember Simon Rodia? Actually, it was Sam.
I remember
Sam.
him.
Yes.
I don't recall what year because I can't remember everything.
Sure.
But it was during the time that I was going to school. I used to didn't talk to him very much, but I used to bring things to him. You know, me and Joe Vidal, the Republican, we used to take glass and shells and ever so many things to him when he first started building the towers.
Uh-huh.
And that's the way I got to know him, but I never conversed with him too much. He was always a busy person.
What did you think about the towers at the time he was building it? Did you?
I thought he was crazy.
That's what most people thought.
Yeah, I thought he was crazy, but he had a good vision and something good that he could present. And at this time, it's something that's known all over the world, I believe, about the watchtowers. There will need to be a lot of things that will have to be done in the watchtowers, because I was in that meeting just lately that we had. Henrik was there at the relish house, and I believe that man that was there that spoke to that other one, kind of a harsh word, you know, when is it going to be done? When? He says it in 1986. Well, let's hope that it's done. In other words, they're saying that the place is too filthy, like a dump, you know. They said they've been working on it, but it still looks the same. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look quite the same, because I was looking at it the other day. Yes. For the next meeting, I can bring something up, you know, if I'm there, if I'm still living.
Frank, what would you like to say to posterity, to young people, to the people that will be watching this in future years about Watts?
Well, I think first of all, there's been a lot of misstatements made about Watts, the community and its people. And I think for young people to really understand their own history, or history of their parents, where they grew up, they need to read. And I think one of the things they should read is when we get through with this Project 20, history of Watts, from a perspective of people that are born and raised here, that saw the many changes that took place, and will continue to see the changes that are taking place. We have a beautiful shopping center across the street from the Watts Health Center. And I feel that one of the reasons that the developers thought of putting it there, because there was a lot of a resistance, is because of the Watts Health Center and the patients that had to come to this facility. I think the community will continue to grow. You're going to see expansion of the community. You're going to see a lot of the negativism removed. But in order for them to grow up with the knowledge and understanding of what's going on, they need to read and study and get involved, whether in school or the church or whatever organizations are available. We have a lot of fine people in this community. A good example is just the number of scholarships we've given graduates of our schools. They're excellent students. They're doing very well. Not enough of that is given to the general community. We're probably one of the largest private organizations that gives out medical scholarships. They need to know that. We need to make sure they're aware of it. And as long as we continue to do that, continue to be successful in serving our patients and provide something back to the community, we will continue to grow. Thank you.
Well, thank you both. It's been a very entertaining afternoon, and we've learned quite a bit about the community. Thank you.